Hopelessness. Somewhere you have never been, a meadow near to it, and a balmy stench. Summer pollen like snow, polder of the afterglow, and you are flooded with joy in the pasture, connected to an emotion of the swaying glass, feeling your heart in your chest, taking in the beauty as it scans back the meadow, connected to, but not always, you going there and walking in the lapping breeze, joyous light of late afternoon, not surprised by it. Swift birds swoop as if dropped and catch back onto the warm rise. The ground sends up the air, connected and swirl into the brilliance, fully defiant. And as with the air, the crickets somewhere you have never been are starting in a way that you have never started, and with all five of their eyes in fixed points connected to the optic globes of brain, gazing in love at the femur and its coarse hairs, each a dapple of complex hooks you have never felt, as this is the meadow, as the mantis is not ideal, but may as well be, as it is perched by the kiss of a flower you long and lift up, connected to, as you were then, a primal longing for peace, shattered. It is a scarlet day in a place you've never been, with your eyes closed, with another layer of brick, and then another, then some boards and plaster, then the hauntings of a place filled up with the echoes of people who are coming. Who is this? Standing outside of it, making up the pastoral, imagining, shaking your head sadly. You refuse the word it. You shake your head and nod your head. You go to work and nod. You go home and shake. You sometimes shake in silence, or sometimes cry out past the field and into the pumping room, where there is a pipe, touched by a woman, and it is always the woman who goes to care for you, madly nodding your head, and the pipe unblocks and comes into you. You and many others, actually the same pipe, always the same room with the woman you shake when you go home, where it is different, a different layer. The women at work you think of and don't think of, because she moves around in your eyes and the eyes of the whole unit according to where she needs to be. At work, at home, she is always moving just beyond the point of seeing, which is annoying. Blast that away and out into the meadow in the deep state. You pollen the horizon. I am, we, you, the whole of the world, walking alone in your 30s through the meadow, gently congratulating yourself, a distant figure, slightly annoying, but okay, not at all the worst. And when its beauty flies into the eyes you are, when the spores fly off to the meadows and arable fields, so tired that you'd like to die, which I must not do, you once told me, held your head into the fields near past, the copse and the babble of water, dystronic toxemia. To before, now, and after, straining in the light of the wall, the light of the day, magnificent birds fling up, sick when the tube of another kind of engine, want to take things out of my stomach, is unblocked and attached to this happy trail of a burning myth, extinct, and then fixed to a word. The meadows scratch you out the window, a long lawn miles down to a fountain, whose noise stretched through the silent air. You imagine it floats up to you. The possibilities are pared down, which is nice, and in the meadow for a quiet life, the tube flaps gently in the wind at last. And the woman who must have been the woman in the room with the dialysis machine, who was irritating your view of an empty distance, is gone. So surely unblocking this tube can't be so hard, you mutter into the still and balmy air as you begin to fiddle with the nozzle, the breeze being light enough that the tube rocks only very slightly, side to side, yet still, it's not as simple as it might have been. Nice day for it. 101 things a person can do. Mr. Sergeant, are you awake? There's a visitor to see you. The tube swings around to look up. Just birds. Flocks of patients and a sticky smell. Is it pollen? I'll do it. And true to form, the nozzle swings up to the energy, the head put there. But this time the blockage moves about 30 feet down the tube and not into you, which is where you imagine it ought to be. That's how it works, surely. Or else, how would it? The primrose shines on you. As you become awake, your arm goes over your body to check your nozzle. The button on the side of it lights the display. A message says, as this is near your limit, please ensure you have enough money available to cover payments, which is why you fear the nozzle. The current minimum wage rate for an apprentice is £3.70 an hour. We had been in a fair and stable phase. When you were younger, you worked in an extrusion plant. Things have changed. Things that are normal now, being underpaid, not being paid according to the perceived quality of your work, qualitative payments, for example, to be awarded your £3.70 an hour, you need to work as though you're being paid £8.21 an hour. And when you start fucking acting like £8.21 an hour, then I'll start fucking well treating you like £8.21 an hour. That is except for the £8.21 an hour, which may come later. You dreamed of becoming a musician, spent a great deal of time working away from work, and people would tell you what it was, now drenched in the teeming meadow. You moved into a home. And as the blood in you were confiscated, I walk by a window where there is always a bed and somebody lying in it. The room is blissful. I stare for a second into the room each time because my life is compressed meat between two doors. When one opens, a little meat slips out. But the bed has been torn from the wall and covered in a plastic sheet, and the room is the dead space to mourn. Dates of palliative significance will heal us back in. Remember, Tundra, July 2005, January to February 2007, but without specialist access, dates below the scheme of usual vision, hidden incidents. Your bliss in solitudinous envy. The whole world is watching. Individuals walk into chasmic meadows, and when they are sure that they are unseen and completely alone, they let themselves die. When they are sure that nobody else is alive, they let themselves die. Felt unable to work together, connected to gently the greater tube and its nozzle, alive and sobbing, connected to the calendar. The body had its arm hanging off, dragged from the wreckage in the meadow, and the soft wreckage sinks in the balmy grass. You look back to gone. The tube scratches its head. Its head is the cap on the nozzle. It is pink and grim. The nozzle feels as though its purpose has been sabotaged. The closer you get, the less time you have to react. Yield to the ground. There is not a like this who is coming. Officer, there's a spider on you. He sipped contentedly. He buzzed lazily. He fell asleep. The pollen went to work, starting a chain reaction of atomic force. A berry fruit forms. The seeds ripened and fell. Then the rains came, embedding the seeds in the rich and fertile warm earth. Nurtured in the bosom of Mother Earth, officer. Oh, slack and careless meadow, hot soil and ripcord, I know that this dream is you. I am on a train with a group of us going to some kind of ceremony. I am carrying a heavy but small cube. The healing winter behind us. Chlorinated meat, connected to what was in your head, lying there dreaming in the tubes and machines, peeling from the wall, to cross on the face in colour, emptied and forgotten. That this is ever connected to remark in mould damage, simmering debt. This is for everyone. Rendered image, 20 new operator jobs, and it is cold. Did it hurt? Ghost flash at the horizon, slowly down the spiral stairs into the darkened water. Monoblock in design. What do I want from you? Sisterly, divisive, lost in it. I actually just want to be spoiled to shit. Exquisite death of my subject. Else smiled in the back of the horizon healing weather. Exempto split and crack in a manic figurehead. Article 24 passes by flawed for extension. The petty horizon in manic slow is cold, basted in the EKL burner. Forever in chlorine. Extension white to pale green. Skin to cold heating. Leads remembered image connected to instinct. Remark red mist dries cold in chlorine. Connect. Spread in fathom and about hurt in fingered yellow and sacked. Do you remember when you were driving in the country at night sometimes, a low thudding sound? What do you mean? A low thudding sound sometimes when we drove in the countryside at night. I remember that. Yes. Now you say it. It was strange. Sort of nice. What was nice about it? Something was happening. Something was happening. Is that all you've got? It's something. Not like now. Now what happens? Pass me the tube. Okay. I wonder what it was. The sound. Yeah, what was happening, that low thudding sound in the countryside at night? Weapons tests. Weapons test, honestly. You and your theories. It was probably people having fun. Having fun. A low thudding in the night. Yeah, you know, dancing, getting away from things. That's just like you. It was funny. Yes, it was funny. Yes, funny, strange, and funny like ha ha ha. It made you laugh. Not that. No. I don't remember, I don't care. We went away. Yes. And that waiter. Yes, remember that waiter. Nothing. Funny. Nothing. Funny. Oh, Christ alive, I feel destroyed. It's hopeless, isn't it? Completely hopeless. At least it's not like that, though. That was horrible. They were horrible. We're free from that. At least they've gone and we're free and hopeless. It feels amazing. Hopeless. Yeah. Gap 24. Now that was funny. So funny. There's bees in the meadow, darling. There's a film about bees. A whole film. A great one. Have you seen it? No. Neither have I. Good. No. Not good. I feel like I've not seen anything. Good. It's so, so horrible. What have they done? What have we done? What have you done? I haven't seen it for a start. Butterflies in the meadow. I love butterflies. So hopeless. I'm actually desperate for this to stop. Isn't it though? I once saw you going along the road. I saw you and I kept looking back. You were such an awful person. I could just tell. You were horrible going along like that, spitting at me. Is it so much to ask? Now that we're dead, at least we can speak. It felt great to tell you that, to be honest. I believe in being honest. If you feel something, you should just say it. You should actually just say it. Yes. They stare at each other, silently thinking. A butterfly lands in the empty meadow, and the wires under the soil and the grass are very, very still. He thinks, wires. He has so many theories about wires. The final sleep, buzzing, scrap lashes, Denton pass, grubby tyre, with the spiders for hands, the hands internal, the blizzard affect, taught so horribly shine. I think something had to happen. I had thought it for ages. I'd lie awake at my laptop, changing, trying, looking. In the shrouded article, This is Fire, long list, compound of possible amendments and bills say, that's just like you, shut up, completely hopeless. Yes, in the Fire article, stick your head in. You're all over the place at the moment. Mimic Meadow, does my head, raining milk, abattoirs to be forced to change its name. Yes, all over the place. Poor you, can I help? Do you want a list? Here's a list. Don't get me started. It's completely hopeless now. Oh yes, and I thought so. I thought of you in the flowers, in the hopeless sky, etc. Very lyrical, flexing in a sense, flexing your writerly muscles because I love you. They wouldn't let him out. It just went that way. Shit happens. Things happen. These things happen. Anger, fear of in meadow. Anger at the thing, the body and the belly of the wiry, horrid meadow. Drowning in the soil, whirring surveillance. Anchor, the spider on your officer. Shh, be quiet. Who is this? Who has come? Shh, etc. Shall we go to the staff room? There's a staff room? Let's go. It's gone. Things just go nowadays. Things can't just go. Nevertheless, we went to the staff room, and here it isn't. Gone. Gone. This sort of thing terrifies me. No need to be scared anymore, my sweet. Oh, okay. This sort of thing doesn't terrify me. Feel better? Much better. In accord, their voice in the meadow twisted. Asbestos is nice, officer. No officer. Spider, no officer. Who the fuck even cares? We will go on and on, insufferably subjunct, notice, until there be no more organ. Its legs jutting from its stomach, its mane and tail flaring behind. No gambling. Will not be still. Will not sanction. Will not punish like a decrease. No, but I will not always be going to my sleep. Don't trust me. Never fully trust me. Naturally, a natural union between a natural man and a natural woman in a sweet fascistic meadow. They go face to face. So tired. You'll pick up. What shall we eat? Zovirax. Again? Again and again. How will I trust you? See for yourself. I do. I know. That summer and our young love, it was false. My subjectivity, you ask me what it is. So, if there is a fire, I will not use the fire escape because it is dangerous. On the days that I leave, I walk through the city. I think about the evil that is hovering over us. Greggs, Fabricland. I go on my way to bureaucrats, I whisper to myself below the mast. And if you think a bureaucrat is your enemy, find a capitalist. And if you think a capitalist is your enemy, find capital. The engorged process, each inner plastered wall over, the constant stupefaction of the contradiction of value into whatever the fuck it is, some occasional substance, into you, into them, you move, Fox and Son, shut up, out, out, out. Winkworth, Austin Gray, shellac, our false and dreamy love, the summer, stop, Europe, death, squeeze my trembling head, deference, exquisite men, replicas, and I climb through the mortar in the rain, and I do not bleed, and I squeeze my terrible face, and I see the figures of the city in my practice. My practice could best be described as spit and chastity and shame and feeding routines and total degradation and fetishistic harm to the subject, immoral conduct in lieu of fucking my practice. My practice is going down the erratic tube at 4 million kilohertz, forgetting how to read, let alone a union, the spite I made in. The contradiction at Fox and Sons is the contradiction at Procter & Gamble and the contradiction of my fond memories. Jade, lucky voice, lord of wine, gestures towards summer, involvement with friends in the art world, meadow disgust, contempt of court, public order act. I'd like to say this to you, would in a field of our dreams scream over the elastic sky, like or not verbalise my dishonesty. The contradiction again in the clarified soil, the grain, these fucking hopeless people, the regressive search for myself, for the meadow, my fucking hopeless chromosomes. It is a closed line. I have closed the line. It's time to shut our eyes. In the cruel and heartless or effortlessly beautiful meadow, a man is walking along. In the meadow, a woman is walking along. They are natural. They can see one another. How nice to be walking in a meadow, seeing a lovely man. How nice to be walking in a cruel and unusual or completely lovely meadow, and there, a woman. Walking in a cruel and unusual meadow is like making love to a beautiful woman, he quips in the long flowers. What's wrong with that? He bellows. The cruel heart of woman hears this bellowing man and comes back to life, runs after her, clearing up the crisp packets and data. His spine tingles. There is a strange thread in the grass. She stares down at the eerie cord glistening like a lurid hinge plate. Beep, 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 etc. A crisp packet falls into the way and she goes back to the cleaning, attends to the meadow. Just then a crow bellows for the rain. They meet naturally and agree to have sex with one another. Oh, good. He produces his willy. She lies down in the blades of natural Europe. She does her best not to set him off. Northern Europe, white, Baltic, he says. And then he says, having sex with you is a bit like making love to a beautiful woman, connected to the population. You know, before they had all this, shh, she interrupts him. Just be happy. He pulls a piece of tape across his mouth and makes himself go to prison. And so it was that she wandered alone in the damaged meadow, mending the seams of his reality, gently and quietly like any corrupted monad. Bollocks to you, she dares to think, and turns off the path into the woods. These were the woods of a terrified child. But in the summer, it is only a quiet hazard. She trips along through the sticks and bracken. There is no bird song. It is totally quiet. She runs back into the meadow. She speaks to him again. He is irate. She says, remember that waiter? Wasn't he funny? You would say that. I would. You would. I know I would. That waiter was funny, wasn't She kicks the ground with her foot and notices that just below the earth there are thousands of wires and tubes. One of the tubes she sees has an enormous clot of blood in it. That waiter, they're putting in 5G. That was funny. Yes, they are going to make us extinct. That way, they meet every year in a secret location. They all do. The banks, they know, I know, they are. It is unclear who is speaking. They speak about the sky, the wires are under the ground. I don't like parachutists. He was funny. He was funny. He was funny, wasn't he? Is there anything else? No, not anymore. He was funny. What wasn't he? Wasn't he? What? Funny. What's funny? What's so funny? I still love you. I don't want to go alone in the woods. I know. Funny. Not funny. You shouldn't have to. Don't get me started. But you have to. Fuck. I know. Wires. I know. It is really so bad. Is it really so bad? Is it really so bad? It is a very strange world we are in. Like the old one, but clearer. Where is everyone? The meadow, the tube, the flute. You walk again into the woods and go near to a tree. You peel back the bark and begin to think about looking underneath it. You have a look, and under the bark of the tree is, surprise, surprise, tubes. 80 different tubes. You knew it. He knew it. He told you, so you knew it. Tubes, wires, windows on the world. He knew it. He told you. You should have known. They made love. They fucked like wires and tubes. You walk further into the wood. The climate whispers to the trees. Thank you. No, thank you. The desperate boiling wires are thrashing under your feet. You go on into the woods, into the face of return. You walk along for minutes and minutes. What is that smell? And then you are halted. You can hear the screaming of a man in the meadow. It is intolerable. You knew this all along. So you went to the wood and walked calmly along until you were halted, suspended just above the ground, your arms tensed against the strain of the silk. You struggle and are caught in torsion. The irate man in the meadow, such a long way away, dying alone in his furious isolationist peace. You hang in the web, disgusted, appalled, and shuddering. And then you are eaten by an enormous, horrible spider. The end.